Whoa, guys. Whoa. It's another day, and this the series episode 2, the TypeScript series episode 2, as we promised. So this is our next episode, and we are not going to stop until we come up with something, until you guys tell us yes, now you are okay. So this is our episode 2, and we have Albert here. Albert is going to take us through our episode. Let me welcome Albert. So firstly, if I forget to mention, my name is Shadrach Inusa, a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador, and I'm also part of the .NET user group and the Power Platform user group in Ghana here. Yep, so you can call me Shadi. I'm on Twitter, Kojo Shadi as well. So quickly, let me bring in Albert. Hello, Albert.
Hello, Shadrach.
Yeah, awesome to have you here this evening or tonight in Ghana. I'm sure other world it will be day there. Yes, because people are joining us from all over the world. Yes, so thank you for joining us today. And I heard you have something for us. I heard you have something for us, and I know you have something for us. So quickly, introduce yourself and just push whatever you have for us to us or to the attendees as well and those who are joining us. And yes, so quickly let's welcome Albert. So Albert, I've handed the wheel over to you now.
Thank you very much, Shadrach. So, my name is Albert Quist. I'm a software engineer at Zenith Bank, Ghana. And today I'll be taking you through TypeScript, the types in TypeScript, and it's episode 3. I must say that my previous predecessors, Sam and Wise, did a lot of good job. So today I'm just going to continue from where they left off. So first of all, we had a repo for our project. Therefore, I would clone that repo instead. So let me create a new file. Let me create a folder instead on desktop. I'm sure most of us here, we know how to clone. If not, there is no harm in that. We could always find a way around it. So let me see. Episode 3. Okay. So I'm going to clone into our repo. Let me publish the first one. Okay. No, let's cancel. I was running the first one before. Anyway, so what is TypeScript? The types. TypeScript language supports different types of values, as we all know. TypeScript is more or less like an OOP for JavaScript. Hence, and I hope we all understand what OOP is. OOP means object-oriented programming. So it provides data types for JavaScript to transform it into a strongly typed programming language. Now, JavaScript doesn't support data types, but with the help of TypeScript, we can use the data types feature in JavaScript. Now, TypeScript plays an important role when the object-oriented programmer wants to use the type feature. Let me explain what that means. So that's our series. Let me open this. Okay. Let me add new one, title it episode 3. So if I say it is a strongly typed OOP, all we are saying is that you can say var maybe first name to be equal to Albert. So this is episode 3.ts. Now, from here, in other programming languages, you realize that you could have done something like string name to be equal to Albert. This is strongly typed. With this, you are declaring the name to be a string, but in JavaScript, it doesn't work that way. So you can't really you can't access the type unless you assign it to something. So let's get rid of this code. And now let's check the type of name over here. Now the first name, you realize they've written string. Now it is a string based on the value it is possessing over here. Let's change this to 1, and the type changes to a number. Let's change it to false, and the type changes to a Boolean. Let's not assign anything, and the type changes to any. Now, this is the meaning of whatever it is we are discussing, that the TypeScript language supports different types of values. It provides data type for JavaScript to transform it into a strongly typed programming language. So here we said that JavaScript doesn't support data types, which I showed you. So until you assign something to it, you don't know the type. So TypeScript basically converts your JavaScript into an OOP. Now we have types of TypeScript. We have the static, the generic, and then the decorators. Now in the static, we have the built-in, which is the number, the void, the string, the null, and the Boolean types. Now someone may ask, why do we need all these things? We have different types of data. So for instance, your name is a different kind of data. Your age is something else as well. It's just like saying you have A, B, C, D, you have sentences, you have numbers, you have fractions. That is how you are supposed to see the data types. So in data types too, we have these ones that are set aside, which is the undefined. Now the undefined primitive type denotes all uninitialized variables in TypeScript and JavaScript. It has only one value, which is undefined. And obviously, undefined means it is undefined. So we barely use the undefined. Now the any is the super type of all the data types in TypeScript. So the any means that you can assign any value to it. So when I was demoing, I realized that when I use Albert as a string, it changed the data type to a string. When I used number, it changed it to a number. But if you don't assign any value to it, it picks automatically the any type. Let's move on. And situations where you can use any is maybe you are expecting a value from an API and you don't know the format. You just have to leave it like that so that when it comes automatically, it's going to be converted for you. So now let's look at the static built-in types. So the static in the context of type system, static means at compile time or without running the program. So oftentimes you would have to run a program to know the type it is. Until you run it, you don't know the type. So let me do a bit of coding over here. Today's tutorial is going to be more of theory because that is like the pivot of the series. So over here, as I demoed earlier, it is any. Now, if I assign a string to it, say Albert, automatically this is picked to be a string without compiling it. We know this is a string. Now that is the meaning of what we said over here, that without running a program. So in statically typed language, variables, parameters, and objects have types that the compiler knows at compile time. So before you even compile it, we know what it is. We know that this code, this code over here is a string. First name is a string. If we change it before compiling it, we know this is a number. That is all we are trying to say. So the compiler used this information to perform the type checking. So now let's go to number. These numeric values are treated like a number data type. The numeric data type can be used to represent both integers and fractions. Now TypeScript also supports binary based, that is base 2, base 8, decimal, and the like. Let's do a bit of coding to understand what I mean over here. So we can say that obviously first name. So let's say age is equal to 1. So over here, age becomes a number. And this is a static thing which you can't change. So let's say I want to assign age to be equal to Albert. Now let me try running this for us to see if we are going to get error or you won't get an error. So let me console this. Console.log age. Let's say node episode dot yes. Now we are getting an error. We are getting an error because we assigned age to be a number and this is static. Now over here we are assigning Albert, which is a string, to age again, making it conflict. So let's comment this one out. Let's save it and see. Let's clear our screen. See if we are going to get the same error again. Yep, we got an error. What is it saying? Node episode 3. No, it's supposed to be TS. Let me do this on the desktop and let's see if it's going to solve our problem. So episode 3. So the difference between the extensions is that, as you already know, JavaScript is JS and TypeScript is TS. So I have changed it now. I'm sure it's going to take effect over here. Let me open it again. So I have my TS over here. This is my JS. I have my TS over here. Okay. So .ts. Okay. If it's not going to work, let's use this guy. Let's comment this is my good friend here. And then let's var name. No, we did age. So let's var age to be equal to 1. Let's console it. So we want to output age. Let me clear my screen and then run my hello world. Yes. I'm not getting my compiler to detect whatever it is it's supposed to detect. So let me fix that right now. Wise. I'm sure Wise is at the background. Demo day demons. Okay. We are live now. Everything is working. So let me share my screen again. My other screen is also telling me it can't find my HDMI. This is interesting. Oh. Shadrach, let me quickly check my other screen. It's telling me no signal. And right now, I'm only. They don't take our lights off. Sandra, can you see my screen? Good. So here we have the var age here to be equal to 1, and we are trying to output it, giving us the value 1 over here. If we change it to 5, we save, and then we run the program again. Let me say node hello world dot ts. Why is this guy still giving me error?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
You should use the TSC keyword instead of node. Use the TSC compiler, the TypeScript. Sorry, the TypeScript compiler. So
TSC.
no, you are typing that in there. You should type it in the command line. Yeah, sorry.
TSC
Yeah, and then the name of the file.
dot hello world dot ts.
Mm-hmm.
It's still giving the error. I don't know if it's as a result of the configuration or what, but
Do you have the TypeScript compiler installed globally?
yes, everything is installed globally.
It's that it can't seem to find your.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the issue. But it just worked. I don't know why. It's demo day demon. Some of these things are usually normal.
Okay, let's do this. You see the master branch.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go to the master branch. We can branch off the last episode's branch.
Okay.
So you have the basic configuration setup. From there, then you can branch off that into your own episode.
I'm
So
coming.
click where the four is.
Let me see if I can try this.
Okay, yeah, you can install it project wide too. Yeah.
Because I did it before, but let's see if this one works, then we are good to go. Because it's on and off. Okay.
I hope so too.
Let me just do node
No,
hello
I don't think
world.
that command will work.
Yes. He said let's try this, right? Let
TSC,
me.
just run TSC LMC, just TSC. Don't pass it anything yet. Yeah. So just TSC.
I'm still getting the error.
Okay, so you can run your CMG at the system level. And let's check. Or
Okay.
you can add, wait, you can add, you see what's selected here is PowerShell, right?
Yes.
You can click on the plus and use the bash one. So select from the option and use bash. Yes. So in the bash, if the terminal initializes, try the TSC in there. Let's see.
Okay. TSC hello.
No, just TSC.
But you want to know if it's there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, TSC is working just fine. So you can do TSC and pass it the TypeScript file.
Okay. Hello world.ts. Still throwing an error.
Okay, so this is actually helpful because this will allow us to see the usefulness of our TS
Yes,
config. It says,
because I was also I tried
Mhm.
it in the morning without cloning from GitHub, and it worked.
I
But
think
if you
you
clone
got
it,
down there for just a second.
can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Can you
I
hear
can
me?
also hear you. Yeah.
Yes, because the problem, what I was looking at was people not being able to run it after they clone it, and that's the
Oh,
exact
okay.
thing I'm facing.
Yeah. Okay.
Because
Okay.
without cloning, you can still run your program, but after cloning it, you face issues like this.
Okay, so let's try to fix that and then
So I'm sure we still have to do something about our TS config.
yes. So yeah, over here you can click on that. So let's go
You
to
know
the
what?
Mhm.
For the sake of time, let's let's just continue with what I was doing earlier, because I did all these things run very well, but currently it's not running again. So I'll
Okay,
just
so well if
uncomment.
you want to run the node, um
So let me just uncomment and then explain to our viewers.
Okay, that would be awesome.
Yes, because the codes are going to run definitely if your compiler is working.
Sure.
So at this stage, this is the very first function, and we are just greeting like the normal hello world we've been doing. That is this code. Now, this is the user Albert Quest. So when you console the user, you are going to get hello Albert Quest. And at this stage, the user over here becomes a string, which is static. Now, let's move from there to the next one, which is value. Now, this place we are trying to explain the any. Let me show you any from my presentation. Yes, so the any type will take anything. So in our code over here, it is any. At this point, it becomes a string. So if you console.log this, which is value, and you comment this guy, you are going to get high in the console. And if you comment this also, you are going to get 555 in the console. That is how we are using any. Let's go back to our PPT. Now a void returns nothing. So the various data types you have, for instance, you want to find the sum of two numbers. So you write your function. Let me show you a function. So you write a function like this. This is an example of a function with parameters. And this is a function without parameters. So between these two, this becomes void. This over here becomes void because it is not returning any specific data type, but this is returning a number or anything you pass through it. So if this is a string and this is another string, if X is a string and Y is also a string, you are going to get a string as the return type. Therefore, it is not void. So the void is just like returning just something. It is neither an integer number, nothing. So it takes us to the explanation. Where is my void? So a void is a return type of the functions which do not return any type of value. It is used where no data, that's no data type is available. A variable of type void is not useful because we can only assign undefined or null to them. And undefined or null is something we don't usually use. So now let's go to the string as a data type. We will use the string data type to represent the text in TypeScript. So as I demoed earlier, this becomes a string. So you have hello, you have any. So if you should console.log result, you are going to get, since the compiler is not working, you are going to get something like this. You are going to get hello, any as your result. Because over here, we are saying it should add X and then Y and return that. So in adding X and then Y, you are going to get hello any. Now, if you should run this instead, that is 2 and 3. If you should run 2 and 3, 2 over here represents X and 3 represents Y. So you are going to get X plus Y, which is 2 plus 3 to give you 5. So over here, we are utilizing X and Y to be any. It is not having any data type. So you can pass either a number, a string, Boolean, anything. You could pass anything through it. That is how we are utilizing this. Let's move to the next one. So now you have the null. The null represents a variable whose value is undefined. So undefined means you still don't know what it is. Much like the void, it is not extremely useful on its own. So the null accepts only one value, which is null. The null keyword is used to define the null type in TypeScript. But it is not useful because you can only assign a null value to it, nothing more, nothing less. And then we go to the Boolean. The Boolean data type can only have 2 values, that is a true or false, yes or no. So a typical example of Boolean will be to say let's say it's old. Var is old to be equal to true. So this is TRUE. So here you can see it has become a Boolean, and this is old can accept just 2, either true or false. So that is a Boolean. That is the Boolean data type. Okay. So now realize that all these are the inbuilt static types. So static in the sense that you can't change them. You can't add your own, you can only assign them. So now let's go to the user defined types. In the user defined types, we have an array, we have the tuple, we have the class, we have the enum, we have interface, and we have functions. We are going to explain all these. Now, an array. An array is a collection of elements of the same data type. So like JavaScript, TypeScript also allows us to work with arrays of values. So you can say all the values are going to be strings or numbers. That is an array for you. Let's go into our Visual Studio Code to see an example. So this is the array I was running. Let me comment this. And afterwards, we'll have to take time and differentiate. So I'll just comment it where the arrays are, where the tuples are. We work on it. So here I am initializing an array of lists, and the list over here contains just numbers. So you could see from the top that the list is of type number because you're having 0, 2, 3, and everything is a number. So this is an array. So someone is going to ask, what's the difference between an array and maybe any data type? An array has set of values of the same kind. That is the difference. But with maybe a string, you're just going to have one value. So you can say first name, var first name, var second name. That is not an array. But if you want to use an array, you can have multiple values inside, like what you have over here. And this is how you write an array in TypeScript and JavaScript. This is how you write an array. And over here, when you console.log this, you are going to get the value 0, 2, also going to get 3, you're going to get 4. All the values in the set, you're going to get that. And you can check the length of the array. Now, this is where the difference comes in. In our PPT, we said this one is user defined. The array is user defined. So user defined simply means that you set your own length. The system doesn't restrict you. So over here, assuming our compiler was working perfectly, you are going to get the length to be the total number of items you have over here. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this one is going to output 5
Yeah.
for you.
Hello, Ahmed.
Yes.
Can we help our what's it called? Can we help our users or viewers by resolving
Yeah.
the issue? I think that the directory in which our bash is opened to, if you write an ls command there, we can see the files that are in that directory. And I think quickly we'll realize that we might probably be in the wrong directory. So we still use the terminal, but then we do an ls. I think that the terminal is opened on your desktop TS tutorials. But then we need it to be in the .NET UG TypeScript series folder
Sure.
before
Sure.
able
Sure.
to run.
Okay, so let me open the folder.
Yeah.
You said it's supposed to be in this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Great. So you can select that folder instead. So just click on select folder.
So this is we are here, right?
Yes.
We
So
are in
now
here. Mhm.
exactly. Yes. Great. So now we can run our command again.
Okay, so let me run the last one, which is console.log. It's old. That I should use TSC.
Yes, just run tsc. No, don't pass it any parameter, and it
Okay,
should recompile all the files in the same destination.
but it's
No,
still
let's
giving us the error.
PowerShell. Sorry, switch to the Git bash. Yeah. Yeah. So
Okay,
let's
TSC. We good?
think this worked. Yeah. So if it did, we should see the hello world.js. You can kindly check if that has been created as well.
Yes, hello world.js has been created.
So you can now pass hello world.js to the node to see the results.
So we should do that in Node, right?
So you can say node hello world.js.
Okay,
Great. So node now reveals all the various functions that you have called along the way.
awesome.
So I think we are back on
Okay,
track.
so I think yes,
Sure, that's
it gave
awesome.
us. Okay, let me comment this. I'll comment this guy. So this is exactly the output I wrote over here. We have the same thing over here.
Hmm?
And the length of our array becomes 5.
Okay,
And
that's the length.
here, yes, and here we want to access the very first value in our list, which is our array. Now, arrays begin their numbering from 0. That's why you see 0 over here. So if I should say 1, it means I want to access the second value, which is this guy. So let's run that in JS and let's see how it's going to look like. Oh, I didn't save it. Did it work? Where is my true coming from? Let me change it to 2. Do I always have to compile using TS? Because I'm getting the very old one again. So let's do TS again. Today my machine decided to run slow. That is interesting. TSC hello world.ts. Okay. Okay. But Wise,
Yeah, boss, I'm here.
you realize that I had to
Yeah.
compile TSC before I get the output again. But
So
in what I was doing, I could run Node directly, and then it was working on TS. So I
okay,
think would have to find a way around that for them
so
because
you
I
were
was using.
doing
uh
yeah. So okay, let's try that again. Pass the TS file to them and let's see.
No,
Is that how
okay.
you were
So
achieving
let's use partial now, and
that?
let's see if it's going to work.
Okay.
Because I know a lot of beginners are our tasks. And if you always have to run TS before running JS, it's going to be worrisome to them. So I was
Okay.
doing node
Mm-hmm.
hello world dot ts.
Let's try
You
that.
see, yes, and it compiles like that instead of giving you the JS file before running the JS file again. So
Okay.
now let me change this one to 1. So the 1 means that we want to access the second value in this list. So the second value in this list is going to be 2. Let's run it directly and see if it's going to work. It didn't work. Oh, I didn't save it. Gosh. Yes. So you see,
Okay.
it
It
worked.
says safe now. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So with this in PowerShell, you don't have to necessarily compile the JS before you get it again.
Okay. So let's try if that is also achievable in the other one.
In
In Git Bash.
okay, for the sake of our viewers, we are doing this. So I was doing node hello world dot js, and you see it's not the same thing. It's getting the old result instead of the new result. Do you get it?
So you pass the TS. You are passing the JS. So passing the TS and let's see.
No, when you pass ts, it is going to run js for you. It is going to give you the js version
Yeah, but
before
just
you run
run.
the js version. So
Yeah. No,
ts.
don't run TSC. So just like you are doing in PowerShell, repeat the same thing here and let's see.
So you mean I should do the node hello world ts?
Yes. If node allows that, where you are running shouldn't matter.
Yeah, so node allowed it, because I realized in our previous tutorials we were always creating the node file before running the JS file, and it's going to be a bit complex for the very new people.
Okay.
So this is how I'm running it. I am using node, and I'm using node to run the TS file. So with that, it doesn't create the JS file for me. But if I wanted to create the JS file for me, it means I'll have to use TSC instead of node. So I'll have to do something like TSC hello world dot ts. Then this is going to generate a newer version of the JS file before I run the JS file.
Okay. So what we'll
So
do
for the,
that hello.
yes,
As we have hit our time mark, we will take some questions now from the users that are from our viewers, and then we would adjourn and continue with the basic types and functions on our next week since we have exhausted our time slots. So
the good thing is that,
yeah,
let me finish with the tuple. With the
okay,
class enum interface functions, it's a topic on its own. So
yeah,
even
okay,
if we don't come back to this, we can still continue from there, because array is not a topic on its own. So let me just
okay.
finish with tuple, then class enum, the rest, the generic and then the decorators are all topics that we would have to touch on.
Yeah, but that will allow us into the 1 hour time slot, which we don't want to get to. We can
So let
stop
me just show the difference over here. So we said an array is a combination of sets of the same type, but this is the tuple. What you are seeing here is the tuple, just this code. So now the tuple is it's not of the same type. So the tuple can take a string, a number, and then a boolean. That's the difference between the tuple and then the array. That's just it. So I think I'm done. We can take the questions now. Why is shady? Are we there?
Yeah, sure. We are all here. Yeah, so guys, if you have any question to ask, kindly drop your question in the comment section, and it will be answered. Sorry, but we have to work on something later,
Yes.
and mhm.
Uh. Okay. So our boss Frank Udum is here. Emmanuel Dakun is also here. Emmanuel Dakun was saying the file name, but I think in the terminal, the file name doesn't really
Yeah,
affect
sure,
what you
sure,
run.
sure,
Yeah.
sure.
So
That's
Emmanuel
that's
Dakun, thank you so much. And
yeah.
boss Frank Udum, we salute.
Yeah. So thank you, Frank, for passing through as well. Yeah, so I think we don't have much question, or we don't have any question currently. So we need to work on this. Then next week, we promise you guys is going to be really awesome. We really promise you guys it's going to be awesome. We are not ending this now until we hit our target, or until you tell us, oh, I'm tired, I can't join the event again, and I've been able to build something. You can't just say you can't join again, but at least you are able to do something, or you've end up joining a company, and you feel like, yeah, now you're okay. Yes, because we
The
want you to
end,
achieve something.
yeah,
Yeah,
the end goal is that we are all going to end with a proper understanding of how TypeScript works. And
sure.
so that is the goal. Let's join same time next week so we can be able to make use of the knowledge we've gained from this in the next lesson, because we'll be building up during each session. So if you haven't or you don't understand anything, you can go to a previous lesson and go through before you join the next one. So thank you very much to everybody who was able to join. And this is where we go off. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys. Bye, bye, y'all.